How should I? Okay. Good morning, everyone. I hope you guys are fine. Okay. So let me share my screen.
Okay, so sorry to cut you short, right? A very quick one. I'm going to need like 3 volunteers. Well, did I just say volunteers? No, I think I'll just actually have to pick. So I'm going to transform some of you guys here. You're still learning, but I'm going to transform some of you to mentors. Yeah, I'm going to transform some of you to mentors. Some of you have really earned it. So I'll start with 2 persons, and then I'll just if I call your name, just make sure to DM me after your class. We're going to actually have to engage you guys to be mentors. You still learn, but you will actually just do some mentorship role on this platform. You've really earned it. So, let's see. So I'll start with I need 5, but I'll just pick 2 on this call, and then much later we'll take time to pick the rest. So Imole and Akim Bobola, yeah, 2 of you. Chat me up later after your class. Let's see how we can walk you through the process of being a mentor. Okay? Yeah, so I'll go to back to you. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. Can we see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, today we will actually be looking at APIs. I'm sure we've heard of that before, somewhere, somehow. So, what is an API? So, API basically stands for Application Programming Interface. So, normally, like I explained earlier, in our very early classes, so as a front end developer, you get to work with designers, you get to work with back end. So, you won't just create, even though most times what we've been doing is creating static pages. So you won't just create a static site. At some point, you have to create uh, a site where people can actually log in, people can actually book, create, yeah, set up profiles and do a lot of things. So for you to be able to communicate with your back end, so you need something called an API. So we are familiar with this instance. Say we go to a restaurant or a hotel, and there you're sitting and waiting for someone to attend to you. Then, while you're there, a waiter walks up to you and is like, "Excuse me, ma'am, what can I offer you?" And you now have to go through the menu and you're like, okay, I'll go for this, I'll go for that. And then afterwards, the waiter now has to now go into where the foods are prepared or kept and then comes back with what you ordered for. So the same works for an API. An API is like a waiter that takes your inputs from your front end and sends it to the back end. So when it gets to the back end, depending if it needs to send back a response, if it needs to send back a response, like the waiter going to get your meal, so the waiter goes, gets your meal, and brings it back to you. So that's the basic instance. Sometimes it could just be, okay, I'm done eating, so you can just take the plates back, and it doesn't have to give you a response, oh, I took your plates or something. So the same goes for APIs. So that's the basic example of how an API works. So for today, if you can see my screen, I have this JSON placeholder. So there are a couple of things that you can actually do with an API. I don't know if we've heard of CRUD. So CRUD stands for create, read, edit, and delete. So those are the basic operations that you can do with your APIs. So say for instance, you have a sign up form and then you now have to create an account. So that is create. Now, you have a profile and maybe it has basic details. Maybe you made a mistake in your email and then you need to change it. So when you need to change it, that is edit. You're editing your profile. Then if you have if you want to get, let's say for instance, a list of countries in in uh, in the world, or a list of states in Nigeria, so you have to read. So that is you reading. And then if as an admin you say you want, or let's just say your Facebook, your Twitter, you want to delete a post. So that is delete. So that is CRUD for you: create, read, edit, and delete. So when you're working with APIs, you're either creating, reading, editing, or deleting. So for us to be able to do that, now we have something called fetch. So fetch basically gives you that, it's like a package that helps you to either create, read, edit, or delete. Now the basic form for fetch is a get request. So if you want it to do other operations in CRUD, you have to now specify it. But in its basic form, fetch basically is for you to get, or for you to read, uh, for you to read data. So we are going to look at how it works. So let me open. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right, that's cool. I hope nobody's confused so far.
Not yet.
All right. Okay, so I have this. Oh, I have a long bootstrap comes with a lot. Okay, so I have a basic bootstrap file which I have. I have just set this up. So I'm yet to, in the last class I had with you guys, we had to fake a mock kind of data. So let me show you something. Um, so this is posts. Okay. So remember that when we had a gallery that we had to create, and now in creating that gallery we had to mock data. You now had to do, okay, so if this is my data, if this is, you now had to create an array, and you're now like, okay, for my first object, for those people that use cars, you're like, okay, so the name of this my car is Volvo, and then you specified it. Okay, the price is so so so, you specified it. But now this is data that is coming from an API. It's coming from a back end. So this API now is similar to what we mocked earlier. It's similar to you creating an array. If you notice, you see this angular bracket here. It signifies that this is an array, and then this is an array of objects. So similar to what we actually did. That's what this looks like. So now in its basic form, I said fetch. The way fetch works, it's for you to read data. Now we are going to use fetch to get these whole posts. So these are posts. So if you check here now, we have this is this is JSON placeholder.typicode.com. So here now you can get just test data to play around with to see how working with API goes. So we have posts, we have comments, we have albums, and depending on what you want to just test or play around with. So I am choosing to go with posts. So we are going to now, we'll start with the first one. We are going to, so we'll look at creating, and then we'll also look at deleting. No, yeah, we'll look at deleting. We'll look at reading, but we'll start with the basic, straightforward one, which is you reading posts. So let's just get right to it. And for some reasons, I'm going to start from the basic. I'm going to start from scratch. So I don't want to make assumptions. Okay, so the first thing I would like to do here is let me link my bootstrap. So I'm sure nobody's still struggling with this one. And slash. Okay, I think I passed it. Bootstrap min.css. All right. So that's for that. Hmm. Let me move this up, sharp. I'm very, I'm positioning this things. I don't know right or wrong. Okay, so I'm just going to call this posts, and okay, so I'll do my JavaScript with in time. Okay, so I'll start with creating a container because I don't want it to touch the edges. Then I want some margins, so I'll do empty 5. So I think I want to have a form at the top of my page, and then I'll display the post at the bottom. So I'm going to create a post creation section. Does that mind my name? Okay, so here now, I think I need a row. And then inside that row now, I will do call MD6. So inside here, so I'm dividing my page into 2 sections, but since I don't need the other part, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to put it here first. All right, so I need a form here. And then inside my form, I'll have to paste this one. All right, so I'll need to wrap this so that we can see. All right, so inside here, inside my form now, I have this. I have the first one, which says email address. I'll change this to post title. And I'll change this to post body. All right. Then I have a button for submit. I think I want this button to be at the end, so I'll do a class. Okay, sorry. I think I need to. Okay. All right. Hope you can still see my screen. Sorry.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so here I said I want it to be at the end. So this is what I have. I think I should just open both side by side so that we see them. Okay, so this is what I have. So I want this. This is the post. I might. Side by side doesn't work. It will make it so squeezed. So I'll let me expand this a little. Okay. So I want to change my placeholder for this first. So I'll just say put a title. So if you're familiar with Bootstrap, you understand what I'm doing here. So this is the label, and then this is input. And the most this form control is a Bootstrap class that gives it 100% width. And then the usual placeholder title, and this I just added it, sure. But we'll get to that point. I'll explain it better. All right. So the same goes for the text area too. So you have a post body, and then you have form control. So like I said, it gives a 100% width. So it has an ID. So this button here is it starts at the beginning, but I want it to move to the end. So I'll do a display flex, and then I'll do justify content, and all right. So just moved over here. So that is that. I think I need to give this a title. So I'll do H3, and then I'll do my MY5. So that's a short for is a short distance. It's a shortcut for adding class. So H3 means heading 3, and then when you put a dot and then a name after it. So you're saying that class, whatever name you add there, is now going to be your class name. And then the H3 now becomes what we have here. So H3 have a class of MY. So this MY, I believe we understand. So your X and Y axis. So your Y axis is from heaven to earth. So that straight line is your Y axis. X is from not east. Okay, it's from west to east. I mean, not east, south, not east. Yeah. So So that one runs across while this one comes from top to bottom. So MY is for top to bottom. Okay, Victor, thank you so much for that laugh. Okay, so we've gotten our posts. Okay, I didn't give the title yet. So I'll just try and create a post. All right, so that's that for that. All right, so I think I need another. Let me close up this section, and then I need post display section. All right, then this is my post display section now. I think I also need a margin top of 5. And then I need so I need a heading. So I'll do another H3, and I'll do okay, all posts. Sorry. So I'll do my3. I'll do all posts. Okay. So when I do that now, I now have to now create the section. So I'll do so I'm just giving any name. So post box. Let me make this plural since we are going to get plenty posts. So inside here now I'll put my row again. I don't want to have a scrolling line. So inside my row now I'll do call MD. So let's make it 4. And inside there I need a card. I need card body so that my content will be inside it. And I need a title. So let's come back to this. Okay. Let me expand this. So yes, now this is, can we hear me? Am I still?
Yes, we can.
All right. So we're trying to model out this data now. We're trying to display it on our page. So you need to know what and what you need or what you want to display. So if you look at this now, you see that we have user ID, we have title, we have body. Okay, so we have those. Now we need to decide on what we want to show. So for me now, what I want to show is a title and then the body. So I'll go back to what I have. You notice that that is common between all of them. So I'm going to do a H5 and I'll just give it some random title. I'll say Lorem 3. Let me expand this. So this is Lorem 3. So this is my title. So I'll just give it a class and I'll just call it posts title. And so I'll do margin bottom of 4. Then I'll now have to put in the body. So my body will definitely be a paragraph, and I will do lorem 20. So I'll just give this a class to okay. Uh, post body. All right. I think I have like the basic thing I need. So let me do this. Come back here. So this is what I have. And for people who are curious, so I think we had one point where someone asked if it's necessary to duplicate this, but just for clarity's sake, I will duplicate this into so I have this now. All right, so coming back here now. So I'm done with my basic HTML. I now need to bring in the JavaScript part of life. So I'll create a file. I normally like to call it app.css. I'm just going to call it script. I mean app.js. I'll call it script.js. So here now, this is what I will do. So I need to append this. I'll do scripts. Now do js slash scripts.js. Okay, so your script usually should go at the bottom. So here now, so I said we will start with the basic form of the basic form of fetch. So for us to do this, I think I will just let me start by just creating a function. So I want to get posts. All right. Now, for us to use fetch, so you need to start with the keyword. You need to start with fetch, and fetch takes a parameter. I'm going to come back here. Where's the mouse? Okay, so you see how this goes. So fetch, it takes in this parameter, which is a string or your URL. Yeah. Then when this happens, you get a response, which is this. That's why you're seeing a dot then. So this response now, we need to convert it to JSON. That's why we now do response dot JSON. So this JSON function here converts your response into this JSON format. Then when you now get this, you're now able to now console log it or use the data that you get from your response. You're now able to display it or use it to do what you want to do. So going back to so this, we need this link, we need this, but we are not doing for to-dos, we are doing for posts. So we're going to have to replace it with this post. So let me go back to my VS Code. All right, so I'll expand this again. So here now we need to pass in this string. I'm changing this instead of to do's here. So this is the first, this is the website's URL. And then we're going to now change this to posts since we're dealing with posts. All right. And then, okay. So this is this. So when we do this now, the next thing is we need a dot then. So inside this dot then, we get a response. So a response from your API gives you this response, and you need to convert it to JSON. Okay. Now, after doing this, we now need another dot then. And then we now get, so I'm going to call this data. So this is okay. So I'll just console.log this data. All right. So this is just a basic fetch. This is a getting posts. You're seeing that this ends with posts. So we are getting posts, all the posts. We're not getting a particular post. If you check back here now, if you check here now, you're seeing that they have to-dos, and the to-dos didn't stop here. They now had to pick the first to-do, or the one that has an ID of 1. So this is like when you're getting a particular to-do. But when you're getting all, you need to stop at this. And then see what we are expecting. We are expecting 100 posts from this API now that we are calling, or we are. So we are expecting 100 posts. So let's see what we have. So since we are console logging this, we need to trigger this function so that it works. So here, I will now have to call this function get posts. So I want it immediately my page loads, this thing, this function runs. So if I come here now, I need to check my console. So see what we have now. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
we can.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So if you see now, we have 100. So you know arrays are 0 based, so we have from 0 down to 99. Now, this is like the mock. This is the data that we need, but we need to display it on our page so that people can actually see it. So what do we do? So if you recall, when we were playing when we were playing initially, what we did was, let me open VS Code again. So I'll expand this. So what we did was we had to. Okay, I'm trying to get this things back. Okay, so am I going to, let's just do it. Yeah. I don't want to just paste. So let's just do it. So first thing, we need to get our layout. So this is, we need to get how one post looks, and then from there we now mock what more will look like. So the same way we displayed our gallery, that's the same method that we will actually use to do this. So I need to put this. So notice where I'm putting my ID. So what I did the other time was, when you're creating, you need to be able to inject uh, what you're populating. You need a place so that you'll be able to inject it into your HTML. So that's why I added I need to add an ID here. So I will call this post layout. Reason being that it's an array that I'm getting. So when I do a for each, I have to keep duplicating. I have to loop it through and then inject it into this post layout. So what is changing, what we'll be duplicating is this call MD. So I noticed that there are some people that they found it difficult to find where to inject what's their arrays. So the items from their arrays basically. So you have a row and you have this, and you're thinking of where you should look through and inject it into. So I'm picking this first one, this column, because a row basically is, it allows you to hold your grid system. So if I keep doing multiple call MD4, it will still be responsive and still maintain how it is supposed to look. So that's why I'm picking this. But first, I need to put this in my script first. So I'll say let's post layout document to this document, and then I need to get element by ID. And remember, we called it what? Post layout. All right. So when that happens, I need to create my HTML. You can actually call this any name. It's just me choosing to do this. So I have this. Now, when we're doing our own, then we had an array which we created somewhere outside, and we're now calling that array to be able to use it inside the function that we're creating, or inside where we are looping through. So this our data now, this data that we got from from the response from getting this post is an array. So that means we can use this data, we can actually loop through it. So I can just say data dot for each. I need to remove this array because this is already an array. So this data, which is this, and then we're saying for each, get the element, and then I don't think this is completed. So get the element. So let's just console log elements. And that's a long name. I have this. Okay, I have this in box. I need to remove this. So let's see what we have now. So notice what we have. So this is console logging the data that we have. So each data now, each item is now displayed on its own line. So we have ID of 1, 2, and 3. So with that now we now see that this is similar to us getting these cards, putting our title, and putting the body. So what we will do now is we'll come back here and then recall how we did it. I'll comment this for now. And then remember that we had a HTML which we initialized. So I now have to do this. So I'm saying whatever. So this is me creating the HTML first. And now I want to assign what will be inside this HTML. So I need to go back. I'm using templates literals here, templates. Is this string? Okay, so template literals. So that's your backticks. Then I need to copy what I have for one item here. So I'm copying this. I come back here now and I paste it inside here. So let me adjust this a bit. I think I have one. Okay, yeah, this is fine. So when I do this now, I need to inject my HTML into my post layout. So I will do post layout dot inner HTML is equals to HTML. All right. So now recall. Is anybody confused so far? Guys, any confusion? Why not a bit? Okay.
Confused.
Eh?
Yeah, I'm not confused.
All right, all right. So, let's see what we have. All right. So let's see what we have. So we have this. So let me use this now. So we have title, and then we have body. And those are the two things that we need here. So coming back to this. So this is our title. So remember now, for us to display this, so I want to change this to a simpler letter so that it won't be so long. So my E here stands for elements. So just know that. So for me to display it here now, I still need to do this. I need to use a $sign. So let me remove this. And then I open my curly brackets. So I need the elements and then the title. So note that whatever happens here is for a single element. So for each loop through an array, and then you get for each element, this happens. So we are getting the title of whichever element we meet while looping through it, through this array. So we've gotten that. I thought I did this. So here too, we also need to do dollar sign, and then we do e dot body. All right. So now remember that we have this, and then we are injecting whatever comes. This Z should not be here. So we're injecting whatever comes out of this, what is inside our HTML. We are putting it inside the inner HTML of post layout. So that means our row is the parent, and then the this called MD4, there are children inside it. So let's see what we have on our page now. We come here and we see it. I think we should add the numbers, yeah. What do you guys think? I think we should add the numbers so that we'll know if it's up to that amount. Is anybody confused? Hello?
I hear you, Sha.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Well, I'm kind of confused because very
Okay. Okay. So so that's so what happened here is we have this. Sorry, let me open it. Okay, so we have this data. So we got this response first, and we converted it to JSON. So JSON is normally key value, is a key value pair kind of array. Yeah. So it consists of key and values. So when we do that now, we now get this data. We now get the data, because we are not going to use this. We need to change it into something we can use. So we get this data. Now, this data now is an array. This data is an array because that is what this looks like. So that's what this looks like. So it's an array of objects. So we are getting we are getting this whole data. Now, each of it has an item, and each item has user ID, title, body, and all of that. So what we need to do is we need to display it. So that's why we now had to go this route. So this route of creating a layout where we will have to now inject. So this is the parents. We are getting the parents, and then we are injecting the children, which is what is inside here, inside this parent. So it's just like you have a display flex, and then you have children inside that display flex. We want this to be responsive, so that's why we use this called MD4. And so now for me to look through this data, I now have to do data. So this data, this array. So this data is an array. That's why I'm able to use this for each function on it. So data dot for each. So for each, I am getting one element for each item, and for each item inside this array, get that item. Now, mock. So JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. So I think you should. It's similar to you did the gallery task. So it's similar to what you did. So you have price and what do they call it? You have price, and then you have the value for your price. Then you have name and then the value for your name. So it's that kind of format. It's just key and value kind of data. So back to what I was explaining. So for each now, we now say instead we are now reassigning this value. We are now reassigning. So for each item, we have this happening. So we now reassigned it to this our HTML, which we created initially. And then afterwards, after doing this now, before it leaves this loop, we're now injecting it into the inner HTML of your post layout. So that is how we're able to get this. That's how we're able to get these posts, each of them displaying in these cards. So you can see we have the title and then we have this. But I want to add the number. So can somebody tell me if I want to get the number, what do I need to do in the chat? Can somebody, if I want to number this, I want to number each post, what do I need to do? Can somebody tell me in the chat? I want it to be inside my HTML. What do I do? Or how do I get that? Are we confused about the question? So I want to number each of them so that we'll know which post is what. So how do I do that? Is anybody giving it a shot? Oh, somebody did this. Okay. Okay, yeah. So I'm seeing it's just that you did not state it well now. Timmy, Abi? Yes. It's just you did not state it well now. So let's do e.id. I'm thinking of where to put that now. So let me just put it at. So let me do this here. So let's do a H5. Or let me just do a div and a paragraph or a div. So, okay. So let me show that. I'm typing somewhere else. Okay, so here now. So I'm seeing very nice answers here, yes. So you guys are getting the picture. So let's do this. I want it to be at one corner, not the song shall. So I need a display flex. So I'll do the flex. And then I need to justify content. So I'm going to use people's idea and then see what we come up with. So if we are right or wrong. So I hope nobody's confused with what I'm doing here. So this is not where you just write pure HTML. That's why it's actually this way. I need to type everything. So I need a H3 here, or let me do H6. And like to me, you come and be teaching us JavaScript, it's like you've gone far. So I'll just put a, so people are saying I should use, people are saying I should use e.id, Abi. I'm seeing e.id.inner.html. Okay, let's see. Let's see. So e.id. So we have this justify content and so let's see what we have now. I will know whether I'm the one teaching you or you're the one teaching me. All right. Nice response. Okay, so let's see what we have now. Okay, let me give it color self so that we'll know what we're doing. So I'm going to give it a class of text danger. For those of us that are good with Bootstrap, I know we have Bootstrap gurus here. I don't know Bootstrap again. Okay, so we have this. So we have from 1 down to so we have 100 posts. But look at my box is not final. I don't like this type of box. So I need to put this properly. So for those of us that used to do haphazard work, so I need a margin bottom. Yeah, margin bottom of 3 here. And then for my card, I don't want my card to be hanging. So I need to do a H100. So that means a height of 100, no matter what level you are, everything just balances together. It balances out there. So this is what I have now. So this is basic. This is basic fetch. So basic fetch, like I said, is a get request. Is you getting it. So we've done for getting posts now. Now, what about creating posts? So is anybody confused before I go into creating posts? Okay, happiness, you understand now, Abby? All right, all right. Now, yes, I do. Yes, I do. It's sounding like wedding. Yes, I do. Okay. All right, all right. So let's go over to. So we've done for. We've done for. Yeah, we've done for getting posts. Let's do for creating posts. All right, all right. So getting so we are going to do another function. So create posts. It will always be hilarious in his own way. Okay, so for creating posts now. is the data that best, you're not serious. So API is an arrays. API is what is is the data that you get from API that is an array. It's not the API itself. It's the is 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 the API. Sorry, it's the data you get from API. People's chat is cracking me up. So the data you get from your API, that's the array, is not similar to is not similar to an array. So just know that when you get the data, that's when you actually, it could be something else. If you're getting a list of items, so it could be an array, it could be just an object or something. So we are now here to create, we want to create posts now. So what happens here? All right. So let's go back to our form now. So we had this form earlier. Very interesting form. So we had this form. So we need to now, get this, we need to get the inputs. We need to tag them. We need to select them basically so that we can get values from them. So I already have IDs on this. So I have my post title, I have my post body. So I need to add one more here. So I'll say ID equals to post form. All right. So I need to pick those values now. So I want to put this at the top, and I'll say let post title equals, is it like that? Okay, document dot get element by ID. Should we know we can also use query selector instead of document.id, but you need to specify whether it's a class or it's a, so we need to specify if it's a class or an ID. So I'll do post title. Okay. And then we'll also pick for so some of you, I'll just hire you guys for work. The way you guys are growing. So so I'm picking those three things. Post form. I'm going to use query selector for this one so that we see that all of them still join. That's get the query selector rather. Okay, so I've been able to select all of this. Oh, I need to specify. So this is yeah, this is an ID. That's why I need to put this hash. If you're using query selector, you need to put this hash. All right, so here now, I've put this up here, but I need to get this. I need to get these values inside here now. So what I'll do is I'll say, okay, I'll say let's so first thing I'll do is I don't want my okay, yeah. So let's just do this. So since I'm not submit, okay, I need to submit. I need to submit. I don't know how I was thinking that this will work. Okay, so I've selected my form here. So I need to add an event listener. So I'll do post form dot add event listener. So this now listens for my submit event. Yeah, submit and spell submit. Can you imagine? So it listens for that. It now calls this function create post. Now the thing is, if I just do it like that, so see what happens here. So let me just get these values now. So let's post body. Okay. So post. So there are different ways to do this. I could just do post p title. I want to get the value here. So that's my post title dot value. So Control Z, Control C, Control V. Oh, what did I do? So this should be value. This should also be value. So body. All right. Okay. So is listening. Yeah. So we have a submit, but yeah. So see what is happening here. We have this. We have a button, and this button has a type of submit. So the event that this function or this form listens to is when you submit. When you click on this submit button, it listens for when this submission happens. So when this is triggered, it now does whatever is inside that function. uh, Regal code, I hope you understand now. So we have a form. Now this form, you need to submit it. Submitting is an event, is an event. So since I selected the ID, I selected the ID of the form. I'm now saying for this form now, when it is submitted, run this function. You get? Hope you understand. Okay, you understand now. When it is submitted, run this function. So that's what is happening there. So, so that is yes. Event list is not a function. It's event listener is not. It's not. It's not a function per se. It just It just listens for when a function happens. Listen for when an event happens. So it could be your click, it could be your submit, it could be your hover, and then it runs a particular function. So back to what's okay. So back to what we have now. So we want to console.log this thing. So I'll just say console.log. So I'll just say p title. Oh, let me just do post title at once. Post. And then I'll put a comma. Then I'll put my p title. All right. So I'm saying when I submit this form, call this create post. So that's call this. So when that happens now, this is the only thing that should be consoled. That should be consoled. So we have this. We should have this in our console. But let's see what happens if it actually respects that. Okay. So okay. So this should be yeah. So I'll open my console one more time. I come here now, I put a title, some random gibberish. Then I do this. You see what happens. It comes so when I do this, it goes off. Please, I am lost. What do I do? People of God, how do I save my situation? How do I stop that thing from happening? I don't know why when I submit it, it just it doesn't even last a second, it just goes off. What do you think I can use to stop that? I think we've done that thing before. Does anybody know what I would do? Timmy, you know, the thing is, I've told you, you'll come and teach us. Only God can help us. Can you imagine? Only God can help our form. I want to see more answers. What do we think will happen? Rega say only God can help us. Oh, if you know, just drop your answer in the link. I'll be in the chat section. Sorry. Let me see how many people have even been studying self. How do you remove the form default set in best? Eh? Best, how do you remove it? Okay, anybody that knows it, just you can unmute yourself and say something. Just explain it to us. Anybody? Yeah, Timmy.
I think when we submit the form has this
Okay.
default action of resetting everything. So when we add an event listener to this, when we add the submit event listener, we take in that object, a default object, then we prevent the default action from happening or something like that.
Yeah, you're actually right. You even posted it in the chat. I've told you you'll come and be teaching us. So, okay, come and see another mentor here. Pick this one. Okay, so we need to take in an event. So this function needs to take in the event, and then we need to do e dot prevent default. But don't forget again, no. Did not go to primary school where they say, I know, the little I know, I will never forget. Okay, so we need to prevent the default this thing of refreshing of refreshing the browser. So let's see. Now let's go back to our page. I hope I'm not too fast. I even feel I'm slow. I'm slurring. So let's see what we have now. You see? So we have post title, and then this is what we have here. So this prevents the form from refreshing or this page from reloading. So we're able to now see what we have. So when this happens now, we now need to do a fetch, and we now need to make that post happen. So this is similar to, so let me go back to VS Code. Okay, so we need to call the fetch again. And then we need to pass in the URL. Okay. So when we do this now, this is different from what we did before. So if you check now, you see that we just have this link. We're just getting posts from this link. But now we want to send posts to this link. So now we want to send posts to this link. So what we can do is we need to pass in a body. We need to pass in other. We need to pass in other. Listen. We need to pass in other values. So I'll adjust this a bit. So the first one is actually going to be, we need to pass in the method. Now, I told you before, fetch in its basic form is a get request. You don't need to attach any method to it. But now we are doing post, and post is different. All right. So what we will do is we'll say posts. So we need to specify what we are doing now. Unlike get, we don't need to specify. But now we need to specify it. So this is what we do. We'll now do a body. So we need to now, this body now is what are we passing to it. So remember that we have our p title and p body. So post title and post body. Now we need to pass it in along with what is, so this is you. So you've looked through the menu that the waiter came with, and then you've made a choice. And then you say you want chicken a la carte, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing it well, and Hennessy 250, yes. So now the waiter now has to take whatever is on your input to the back end. So for it to do that, you need to pass it in the body. Now, what does this body now? You need to stringify it. So you need to do a JSON dot stringify. So you need to stringify this so that it will be in JSON format. So I am doing this. So I need to pass. So now coming back to this thing, you need to know what is your back end expecting. So coming back here now, you see that we have this user ID, we have this title, we have this body. So this ID can actually be added for you, but these other ones, you need to specify it. So this is what will happen now. So we'll come back here. We now have to do this title. So this title now, remember, okay, so let me just list all of them out. Let me just put a string for now. And so we had title, we had body there, and then we had user ID. So body with a string for now, and then we now have what do they call it? User ID. This user ID is referring to who is the ID of the person that posted it. So just to specify, or just to know who. So if you make a post now on Twitter or Facebook and someone sees it, someone cannot delete your post because the person's ID is different from your own ID. So that user ID is a check, is something that you use to check so that you know who is able to delete a particular post. So because someone posted something. So I think there was a time I was doing that with Event 360 web application. So I was trying to do a delete function so that when you delete a post or when you delete an item, so an auction item. So because we have auction items, people post auction items, and then you want to now delete one of those auction items. So I wrote a delete function, and then the delete function was just open-ended. So anybody that you just jump on the site, you're just able to delete, whether it's you that posted it or you that did not post it. So sitting back to think, I now discover that, oh, this is the problem. So if this is not your ID, if this is not your account, you don't have that right to delete someone else's posts. So that was my own check. So back to what we are doing. So so I have my title, I have my body, I have my user ID. So now remember that we have this title here. So we need to replace this with what we want. So we are saying that for our title, this is what the value is going to be what is coming from our input field, which is what p title. For this other one, for the body, this will be it. And then the user ID, we could just add that one for anonymous, for just adding purpose. So we have this now. Then one more thing that we need to add is we need to add headers. So I'm going to just paste that one. So this is body, this is this. So I'll do a comma. I'll put that. So You're just saying that this should be in JSON format. The content type should be JSON format, and then character, some of all these things. Okay, can we hear me? Can we still hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. So the next thing that we need to do is, so after fetch, the next thing is we need a dot then. So inside this our dot then, we'll get the response first. And then we'll get the response JSON. Yeah, we'll convert it to JSON format. Uh, the subtle note, I wanted to ask a question. Maybe I'll just put it in the chat. Okay, so we get, first of all, we convert it to a JSON format. So the response from here, we convert it to JSON. So this thing is still similar to your function. So let's not get confused, depending on what you are comfortable with. So this is like function, but it's just that it's ES6. So it's a function name, and then you have a response, and then you have this. So that kind of, so similar to that, but this is more straightforward. So this is, you're getting a function, you're converting it to JSON. So the next thing is we have a data, which should be in its own bracket. And so we need to console.log this. So for this to happen now, so we need to console.log. So I'll just do post, then I'll just do data. So let's see what happens. Are we confused about what I wrote here? So this bottom place is basically the same thing. So you need this body, and then you need to pass in what you want to send from your input field. So this title became this one. So this is what your backend wants. So if this is different, you'll get an error. And I think there's something I missed. Okay, so if this is different from what your backend is expecting, say our backend is expecting title, and I now put text here, it will throw an error. So here has to match what your backend person is asking for, the fields that he requires. Then these parts now is for your inputs now. So the value from your input. So I'd already assigned this to this, and then this to this, and all of that. So that's why we're able to do this. So this one is just a random a random user I'm just picking. So it could be anything. Then after doing this, these headers, it defines, I think you guys should just put this up. It defines how your post is going to be, or how your request is going to be. So this one defines the content type to be application JSON, and then sets this character set. So the response that comes from this fetch. So fetch gives a response, which we change to JSON, and then that JSON now we now need to convert it into data that we can use properly. So we're going to give this a test now and see what happens. So we'll come back here and we do gibberish and still gibberish and posts. And then this is what we get. So you can see now. So we have an ID of 101. Why do we think? Why does that happen? So we have 100 here. And then the next one that is coming has an ID of 101. So that means our request actually went through. Our user ID, remember we specified 5. This is coming from our text. This is from our input. And then this ID is 101. So that means this is created, though it is not added to this part. So I think there's a way of doing that. And I think we will have to figure it out. You guys will figure out how you're going to put it here. So figure out how you're going to get your posts, these posts, and then append it to this other one, to what we already have here. So this is our post. Our post has been created successfully. So if you want if you want to do something else, you can also say, if this happens, let me alert posts created successfully. Okay, so this happens. Okay, so when that happens, yeah. So I need to refresh this. So you see, so when this happens, it now says that the post has been created successfully and you can now cancel out. So so if you're doing a sign up now, after doing that place that I wrote post created successfully now, you can now you can now make your page to redirect to another page. So say for instance, you're on the sign up page. When you finish signing up, you want to go to maybe a dashboard or the landing page. So you can now do your redirect inside this section now to redirect you to another page. So that is how creating posts works. So delete is not so different. The only thing that will change is you're not passing in this. You're not passing in a body. So what you will just pass in is the method. So here we'll now change to delete instead. You're not passing in this. And sometimes you don't even require a response or something. But if you choose, you can just say, oh, you can still do up to this point and say, oh, post deleted successfully, that kind of thing. So I think I will leave that in you people's hands. So on this call now, there are two things I want you guys to do for me. Um, so I'm going to drop this. I'll drop this link for us. So, oh, sorry. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm dropping this in the link in the chat section. I don't know why link is just entering my head. So I need I need to be able to, if I click on a particular post, so this is JavaScript. You guys need to go and play with it. So I need, if I click on a particular post, so you will do the card the same way. So if I click on a particular post, I want it to switch over to another page. So it has to redirect to a different page. So when it redirects to a different page, I want to see only that post on that page. So I think it's something we can figure out. So we have a few things that we need to figure out. We have a few things that we need to figure out. I said the first one is seeing a way we can put our. Okay, let me show my screen. Oh, they say they don't know what they don't understand the question. Now convert this whole card to a link. Maybe I'll still need to write it down so that you get it. So convert, you're going to still use fetch, but you will get for a particular post. Yeah. So maybe I think I'll just display one for you so that you will see. So convert, yeah. So convert this to a link. This each card should be a link, such that when you click on it, it takes you to a different page, which you will create. Is a page you will create. So when it takes you to that page, just this, just one, that item that you clicked will show on that page. So you can have
Hello, can you guys hear me? I think we lost Mr. Ogochari. Okay, so what he's trying to say is, for some of us that don't understand what he said, you first thing you try submitting a post, and when you submit the post, it will not remain on that page. It will route you to another page. Okay, and so that is that is one.
back. Sorry. Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. So sorry about that breaking transmission. So what I was saying is, let me share my screen again. So what I was saying is, so we're creating a first page which will carry all the posts. Then we're going to make our cards to be links, such that when we click on that link, it takes us to a different page, and it shows whatever was on that card on that page, just only the information on that card on one page. So we get, so this will, it will not show all of them, it will just show just the information on this card on a different page when you click this. So it just, when you click, it routes you to a different page, displays just this information. So it's easy to do. So there are a few things you might just try and play around with. I think you play around with your storage, your local, what do they call that thing again? Yes, I've forgotten that word, but where you need to set and get items. So you need to either store the posts and then display it on a different page. I'm just giving you, in case it's too distant, just think about it that way. So either you store it, you set it, and then when you route to a different page, you now display that information. So that is what you'll be doing. Either you do it that way, or you do it in such a way that when you route to a different page, you do a fetch on that page. That feels like plenty work, but people should just figure a way around it. Ask question when you get stuck, sha. So I need that. Then um then another thing I want us to figure out is a way of appending our posts here. I don't think it adds, yeah. But just try it. If you're able to do it, then maybe we'll celebrate or we'll do something. But if you're able to put your posts up here, even if it's for a moment or so, then that works for us. But the basic one I want you to do is try and do. So there's something about this thing. It's you're not able to add. You're not able to add directly to this server or where this information is coming from, because if it's that way, that means people will just be adding crazy data into it. You can only mock whatever you're doing. But when you're dealing with your own back end, so I think your backend developer will give you that access. You'll be able to create and add correctly into the system. So let's just do that. Let's do this. Display a particular post. I wanted to show getting a single post. So let me just show that one before we drop off from here. So remember something. Remember that. Can we see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So remember that we have this JSON placeholder. Yeah. So this link now, for us to get a particular post, so we need to pass in the ID of that post. So I'm using this get posts. I should have created a different one, but I'm using this get posts. So after the posts now, I need to add that ID here. So if I need number 30, I need to add 30 here. And then I think our function will run because it's already called here. So let's see what we have on our page. Okay, that for each function. Sorry, this for each works for this part. Oh, okay. Sorry. So this happens. This for each doesn't work because it's not an array that comes out here. So let's just see what happens. Let's just console it. So you will not use a for each for that one. So when you come here now, so you see this has an ID of 30, and then this comes up. So I think we'll stop here. I think there's a class by 11. So yes, if we have questions, please, we'll put it on Slack. Are we okay? Are we good?
By the grace of God, sir.
Say by the grace of God. All right. I know we'll be fine. So let's just do that task, and then let's see how it goes. So I think that will help you to understand how to use fetch. You can also try delete too. All right. So I think we'll stop here. Okay.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Wachiko, for the class. Okay, so if you have questions, please just make sure to ask them on the channel, and then the mentor definitely will get